The black limousines stretched for blocks, a procession of mourning legends and silent celebrities. Outside the Indian Rocks Baptist Church, police and private security kept the world at bay. On the surface, it was a funeral, a final tribute to a man who had defined a generation. But what the cameras didn't show, what the headlines missed, was the bitter family drama, the shocking final moments, and the explosive secrets that were being whispered in the quiet Florida heat. This wasn't just a farewell. It was the final chapter of a story far more complicated than anyone could have imagined. Inside, the grief was thick enough to touch. The air, heavy with the weight of decades of legacy, was charged with raw emotion. Every major name in wrestling was there, a who's who of the titans Hogan had once stood beside. Vince McMahon, the man who built the empire with Hogan as its foundation, emerged from his car looking every one of his 79 years. This was more than just a boss saying goodbye to a superstar. This was a historic, personal moment. Sources described his unannounced eulogy as raw, unscripted, and so powerful it left not a single dry eye in the church. But McMahon wasn't the only one to show up with a heavy heart. Ric Flair arrived in a custom suit with yellow accents, a somber tribute to the man he had battled inside the squared circle for years. The Nature Boy, visibly shaken, later posted on social media, "Even in heaven, he sold out again." A dark joke, perhaps, but it spoke volumes about the complex bond between these wrestling legends. The private jets and armored SUVs had delivered a roster of names that transcended wrestling, Kid Rock and Dennis Rodman, two unlikely friends who were completely devastated by the loss. And yet, for all the legends who showed up, there was one notable absence that sent shockwaves far beyond the church doors. It was the empty seat where Brooke Hogan should have been. Her father's funeral, the final farewell, and she was nowhere to be found. The competitor's video mentioned a fractured relationship, but the full truth is far more dramatic. Sources close to the family revealed that Brooke had been estranged from her father for nearly 2 years. The family drama that played out in the public eye was only the tip of the iceberg. Brooke herself had claimed her father didn't even want a funeral, that he hated their morbidity, and that she chose to honor him in a quiet, personal way. While the internet buzzed with debate, she was fighting her own private battles, not just with her father's past, but with a new, disturbing narrative. And what she revealed about her father's final days would change everything. The shocking truth wasn't about a career, but about a life. Brooke Hogan went public with a horrifying tale, accusing her father's medical team of what could only be described as gross negligence. According to Brooke, Hulk's hospital staff was careless, getting his medications wrong and even attempting to take unauthorized photos of the wrestling legend while he was unconscious. She claimed to have caught nurses double-dosing him and violating his privacy. She alleged that his health was compromised, but that a certain surgery shouldn't have been the thing that ultimately did him in. She told them, "No opioids." His heart was compromised, but he was persevering until this sheer negligence began. She and Hulk's new wife, Sky, had to become guards to protect him. The police have since addressed concerns, stating there was no evidence of foul play, but no formal autopsy was ever performed, and the story has left fans wondering if he could have been saved with better care. But the controversies that defined Hogan's last days weren't confined to his health. The competitor's video briefly mentioned a Donald Trump sticker on the casket. The sticker was more than just a tribute. It was a symbol of Hogan's political evolution and a friendship that defined the later years of his life. Starting with a love of wrestling in the 80s, the bond between Hogan and Trump blossomed into a full-blown political alliance. Hogan wasn't always a supporter, but he eventually became a vocal advocate, giving an absolutely electric speech at the Republican National Convention, famously ripping off his shirt and shouting, "Let Trump mania run wild." His embrace of this political world alienated some fans but brought him closer to a whole new audience. For every glowing eulogy, there was a darker, more painful story. While the world watched the funeral, another voice, one of wrestling's most respected veterans, was speaking out. Bret, the Hitman. Hart made a series of shocking claims after Hogan's passing, alleging that Hogan was a self-serving figure who never looked out for anyone but himself. Hart claimed that Hogan was a roadblock to his career, intentionally keeping him sidelined during their time together in WCW. He said that the moment he won the championship, he became Hogan's enemy, and they were never truly friends again. It was a brutal, honest confession that shattered the myth of Hogan as a benevolent hero. Beyond the ring, beyond the politics and the feuds, Hogan's real legacy was his business empire. The competitor's script mentioned his crossover appeal with Kid Rock, but the true extent of his entrepreneurial spirit was far greater. Hogan wasn't just a wrestling star, he was a brand. His iconic status was the foundation for a wide range of ventures: a light American-style lager called Real American Beer, a new wrestling promotion, and a chain of memorabilia stores, all a testament to how the Hulkster used his fame to build a real-world empire. With his passing, the fate of that empire is now in question, as business partners and co-founders take over, a new chapter beginning without its famous face. And the family drama that kept Brooke from the funeral? It was rooted in more than just personal disagreements. Research shows that Brooke had explicitly removed herself from her father's will, hoping to avoid a legal battle over his estate. But even that couldn't stop the shit show, as she called it. Despite her efforts, the drama found her anyway. This wasn't a simple case of a daughter not showing up. This was a deeply layered and complicated family rift that touched on inheritance, betrayal, and a desperate plea for peace. Brooke even claimed that her father's new wife, Sky Daly, had ties to a certain questionable organization and that she had tried to warn her father about it, only to be dismissed. The last time they spoke was before his wedding, when he left a very weird, cryptic voicemail apologizing for something she never understood. It was, heartbreakingly, the final message from her father. Hulk Hogan's funeral was a fitting end for a man who lived a life of spectacle. But what played out behind the scenes was a far more human story, a messy tale of family feuds, medical mysteries, and a legacy that was both celebrated and criticized. From the heroic eulogies of his closest friends to the damning confessions of his rivals, Hulk Hogan's final bow was as complicated and contradictory as the man himself. His life was a performance, a story of an American hero. But the shocking details of his death and the secrets he left behind prove that even the most immortal legends are just people in the end. Did the public ever truly know the man behind the persona? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.